and I'm with Design Your Fabulous Future and Build Your Backbone Sister. It's a real pleasure to have you here today. I know that many of you have emailed me and messaged me to say that you're looking forward to the webinar, because there are times when you do feel like throwing in the towel, and no matter what aspect of life that is, whether it's your business or whether it's your love life or whether it's your fitness regime and healthy eating. So today we're actually going to go through 7 strategies and steps that I know that work. They've worked in my own life for staying on track. You'll notice that there's a poll that's popped up, and it's just really asking you, what is the main reason that you've wanted to throw in the towel? So there are 4 options there. The first one is nothing I'm doing is working. The second one is that I feel like I've had a lack of support from other people. The third one is, look, I just feel so overwhelmed. And the fourth one is a lack of confidence in myself. So just as we go through, if you'd like to answer that poll, that would be great. And we can just see what the results are at the end of the webinar. Okay, so it is top of the hour and we will get started. I know that you are all busy and keen to get going. So a little bit about me, I guess, in terms of my experience in staying on track when throwing in the towel. I'm someone who's very passionate about personal and professional potential, and my career has been one where I have been global head of human resources and talent development and leadership development and change. And for more than 20 years, I've been a business and life coach, course designer and facilitator. And that's really helped me to get a clear insight into people who just for some reason can't seem to manifest their potential. They give up just before the going gets good. They settle for silver when gold is within their reach. So it's been an interesting experience for me as I've worked with and coached people and trained people and worked with emerging talent in organisations to really analyse what it is that people need in order to keep going, what they need to develop and build, the skills they need, not just the technical capability or the intellectual capability, but what do they actually need in terms of emotions, in terms of their emotional intelligence to keep going. When I left the corporate world, I started my own consulting business, and I also started my own life coaching and retreats business, Design Your Fabulous Future. So I've run retreats all around the world, so UK, Europe, Asia, and Australia, where I'm now back living after 12 years in the UK. I've trained as a master and trainer of neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis and timeline therapy, and I'm just fascinated about how what we think has such a strong bearing and an impact on how we show up in the world, and how our mindset actually is so powerful, and just getting the right frame of mind can make such a difference to all aspects of our lives, the way we speak to ourselves, the thoughts we think, and the emotions that we experience, and that relationship between all of those. I'm just so interested in all of that. And I know that when you work on those areas and you get them right, you get them working for you instead of against you, you are the most powerful creator of your own existence. So I've also run retreats, NLP certification training. I'm a trainer of coaches, and also developed and facilitated leadership and talent development programs in the UK, Asia and Europe. So I guess a lot of experience to draw on there in terms of, you know, people who may feel like throwing in the towel professionally as well as personally. Now, I'm also quite a multi-passionate person. So I have started a 5-star guest house, which still runs in Beaver in the UK. We also, at that time, started creative writing and cookery classes and made a foray into fitness boot camps. The reason for hiring the guest house, establishing the guest house, was that when I was running retreats, I was actually hiring venues every weekend, and I soon realised, well, soon, it took me about 6 months to realise that for the price that I was paying to hire a country house, large country house in the English countryside, I could actually live in such a home, and that would be the monthly rental. So picked up sticks, moved out of London and found a house opposite Belvoir Castle in the very picturesque Vale of Belvoir countryside in the UK, and found the house and then went about furnishing it and, you know, getting it to be a place where people could come on retreats, where they could come if they were part of a business mastermind, if they were enjoying a strategy and planning session with me, creative writing, and also cookery classes. So it was a real place, a home from home really. And the land really lent itself as well to, out the back, a glamping ground, which for those of you that don't know is a glamorous camping. There's a little picture there of bell tents, so they had full beds, or they still have full beds in them, open fires, and just gorgeous views. And equally, the land and the grounds and the surrounding area lent itself very well to fitness boot camps. Now, I don't purport to be a fitness expert, but what I was good at was working with people in terms of their mindset around their health and their fitness. So we established somersault boot camps, and we were running those at Vale House, and had a team of great instructors, some folks from the army and various other fitness instructors, yoga teachers, etc. And we built a really, really good product. And there were times in that business where we really did feel like throwing in the towel. So fitness boot camps became very, very popular, and for the first 12 months we were very busy. And then things started, the market changed. And so we really had to look at, well, what was the impact of that? And how could we change our business model? And it was actually using that resilience and that flexibility and adaptability, and being able to notice that things were changing, that people's appetites were changing, that enabled us to create a new model of fitness boot camp, which was the bespoke model. So rather than us going out and saying we've got boot camps on these dates, we said, come to us if you've got a group of 6 to 8 people or 10, 12 people who would like to do a boot camp, come to us and we'll put it on for you. And that's a model that's continued and is working very well in terms of house party accommodation, hen weekends, wedding celebrations, etc. That bespoke model. And the reason I say that to you is that, you know, often when you're running a business, you're quite close to it, or when you're, you know, trying to become fit or find a lifelong partner, you're so close to it that you can't see the wood for the trees. And sometimes it is about stepping back when you feel like throwing in the towel and actually being flexible. The other thing that I'm really passionate about, or one of the other things, is cooking. I love to cook, and I actually built a really good community around me when we moved up to the Vale of Belvoir. And I got involved on cooking on BBC Radio Leicester, Food Fridays, where I'd be interviewed on the radio whilst I was cooking a recipe. It was basically a lot of chat and cracking eggs very loudly, and, you know, having some great fun doing that. I also became involved as a judge of the British Pie Awards, and that sounds fabulous, and it is. I think one year I had chicken and mushroom pies, and there were 110 entries in the category. And that year, I think that I, you know, had such an adverse reaction afterwards to the thought of eating a chicken pie. But, you know, I became really involved in the community, in the food part of it, quite near to Melton Mowbray, which is the food capital of the UK. And I also established an annual event called Graze the Vale, which was celebrating all the wonderful produce and harvests that the Vale of Belvoir has to offer. So really looking at building that sense of community through the passion that I had for food, as well as for, you know, hosting retreats and providing a great environment for business strategy and planning meetings, creative writing, etc. And I had a lot of practice really at staying on track when things didn't go as planned, when, you know, you were expecting 20 people for a boot camp and it was tipping down rain and you just knew the mud was going to be atrocious, and, you know, those kind of situations. So also about, you know, being agile, thinking of creative ways to get people in to come and enjoy those different things. On a personal level as well, I've had a lot of experience on staying on track. I got to a point in my life, in my personal life, where I wasn't in a relationship and I knew that I wanted to have children. And so I started the adoption process. And for those of you that know anything about that, it is quite an arduous process. There's a lot of, some people say it's quite invasive, and, you know, it needs to be. There's a lot of questions that you get asked. There's a lot of visits with social workers. People are continually traipsing in and out of your house, talking to everyone that you know. And so it is something that you need to be quite resilient to actually endure. And it's a good process because it really enables you to discover your motivations for wanting a family, and to also really make sure that you're emotionally ready and resilient enough for the change that's going to happen when you do have children. I always knew that I wanted to adopt a sibling group, and I wanted them to be girls and as young as possible. And my social worker very early on said to me, you won't get babies and you won't get girls. And because of my belief around the law of attraction and around logical step taking and logical goal setting, I knew that I was going to have girls and I was going to have babies. And I was very, very firm on that. And I'll do another webinar on that process. And I've also created a blog post on it as well. But very quickly, seemingly quickly, once I was approved as an adopter, I then became a mother to Grace in the November, and then Sarah arrived, and she was 12 weeks old when she arrived in the February. And people always said to me at that point, you know, be careful what you wish for. And my response was, well, I am. And the point of that is that part of staying on track as well is really about, and the steps I'm going to share with you, is really about having such a clear vision and a clear purpose of what you want, that it's unwavering. Your desire is unwavering. And no matter what happens, no matter the obstacles that get in your way, you're able to leap over them and you're able to deal with them. You're able to deal with the ups and downs as you go through life, as you go through, you know, your business journey. And so I'd really like to spend some time today just sharing some of those with you. My intention for the webinar is to share the 7 steps for staying on track when you feel like throwing in the towel, and really to help you to build your backbone, sister. Build your backbone is something that's really dear to my heart. It's all about resilience, and resilience is absolutely key. For those of you wondering about the pictures above, there's just a couple of photos of the guest house on the left-hand side there, and the day that the sheep got into the back garden, the farmer next door, unfortunately there was a gap in the fence and the sheep came through. It was quite a spectacle. And the right-hand side is where I'm living now. I'm back in Australia, living on the Central Coast, right by the beach. Okay, let's get started. Look, one of the other things to keep in mind here about staying on track is that it does take 28 days to create a new habit. And my challenge for you is to start today. Now, I'm going to be going through these steps, and I'd like you to write down the tips and techniques that you'll start using now to help you stay on track when you feel like throwing in the towel. Now, as we go through the webinar, you may be thinking to myself, oh, Lara, I know that. And yes, I'm quite sure that some of the steps you will absolutely know. But the reality is, my question to you is, have you actually put them into practice? Because where I find time and again that people fall down when they're applying any kind of learning or any kind of strategy is actually doing them. I say to my students all the time and my coaching clients all the time, reading the exercise is not the same as doing it. We can all have well-meaning intentions to go back to something and do it. But the reality is, unless you put pen to paper, unless you put the pedal to the metal, you're not actually completing an exercise. You're not actually doing the work. Now, I would really like to hear how you get on over in the Life Design Mastermind. So I'm just going to pop up now a link to that, because the Life Design Mastermind is the is the Facebook group that I host with some amazing, amazing people who are all about designing great lives and businesses. And we have theme days, and we have lots of challenges as well. We've just finished a 7-day clarity challenge. So if you'd like to come on over and join there, that would be great, because I'd really love to hear how you actually implement what I am going to share with you in the next 7 steps. So if you're ready, let's begin. Now, the very first thing that is critical to staying on track is actually to know your purpose. So having a purpose in life and having a purpose for each area of your life is really important. As Lewis Carroll says in Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And actually paving the road for our own success is so important, so that we're not just, spraying and praying, going out there and hoping that anything will work, that going along with what other people want to do, for example. We've just, as I say, completed a 7-day clarity challenge over on the Life Design Mastermind. And one of the fundamental questions that I find that people have the most difficulty answering, whether that's in one-to-one coaching or in challenges like this, is answering the question, what do I want? If you pop over into the Life Design Mastermind, I'll share with you the link to the 5-day clarity course, which will help you get there. But fundamentally, to know what your purpose is, you need to ask yourself the question, what do I want? And write that down on a piece of paper. And you may like to do this for each area of your life. So write down the statement, what do I want? And then you ask yourself the question, what will this get for me or enable me to do? What will this get for me or enable me to do? And then you ask yourself, what else, what else, what else? And this brings you to increasingly higher levels of purpose, to higher levels of reasoning, to higher levels of motivation, to higher levels of knowing what your why is. Why do you want what you want? And that is often at the heart of it becomes a value statement. So, for example, if we applied this to weight loss, for example. So what do I want? I would like to be lose 10 kilos, be 10 kilos lighter by the 31st of December this year. Ask yourself, what will this get for me or enable me to do? It will enable me to fit into my clothes that I've grown out of. What else? It'll enable me to feel more confident, have a spring in my step. What else? It'll enable me to attract members of the opposite sex. What else? It'll make me feel fitter and healthier. What else? It'll make me happier, happy to be alive. So you can see that you just keep asking that question about what do you want. And then when you are wavering, when you're not staying on track, when you want to go out and eat that curry and drink that lager, think to yourself, at the end game of what I'm doing now, clean eating, eating healthily, is that it's to make my life happier. I'm going to be happy. I want to, have that sense of freedom. I want to attract that partner. And if you know your purpose and you really dig down deep and define what it is and have that at the heart of everything you do, every decision you make, then it becomes much easier to get what you want in life. So your activity is to write down what do you want, and you can do this for each area of your life. Then you ask yourself, what will this get for me or enable me to do? And then keep asking yourself the question, what else, what else, what else? Now the second one, and here I know some of you are going to be groaning, right? Because it's about setting smart goals. So many people know at the intellectual level how important it is to set goals for what you want in life. I think the percentage of people that actually set them is very, very few. Goes back to the Harvard Business School study where 3% of the graduates of a year at Harvard had set goals for what they wanted to achieve in life. And 10 years later, it was only those 3% who'd actually achieved what they wanted to. There's so much evidence out there, empirical and anecdotal evidence, that setting goals is the absolute key to moving you forward to getting what you want in life and in business. And they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Ask yourself the question, when was the last time I sat down and set my goals? And if it was really recently, that's fantastic. My advice is to, at the start of the year is a brilliant time to start setting goals in January. Review them, have a date with yourself to review things, weekly, monthly, 3-monthly, half yearly, and then at the end of the year, because it's really important that you are measuring your progress towards those goals. Really important to be so specific and have all those ingredients. So by how much? Making sure that it is achievable, that it's realistic for you, and that it is time-bound, so there's a date on it. Make a date with your destiny. For example, I'm 5 kilos lighter by the 31st of December of X year. Really important that we put the numerical value for the year in, because it could be any year. I have generated X revenue in my business by Y date. Set yourself up for success by setting goals that inspire you, that are really crystal clear for yourself, and that you can really easily translate into affirmations and visualizations. Affirmations are the statements that you say to yourself to move yourself forward and to propel yourself into a positive space. So I'm 5 kilos lighter by the 31st of December in 2015. I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling fitter and healthier. And just notice how those feelings change as you affirm to yourself that that is your goal. Visualize yourself in that little back dress. Feel the feeling of the fabric on your skin. The feeling of the champagne glass in your hand as you're toasting a fantastic new year, looking and feeling amazing. Also, it's really important to have SMART goals that are specific, because then when you go to create a vision board or a vision book, you can select words and phrases that really resonate with you and bring those home. Beware, however, of words like more, better, or less, because if I say to you, I'd like to earn more money this year than I did last year, if I earn 1 cent more or 1 penny more, I am still achieving my goal. So we need to quantify what we mean by those words, by more, better, or less. So my task for you is, if you haven't set SMART goals in a while, or if you haven't reviewed them for a while, please do that activity in the next few days and come back over onto the Life Design Mastermind and let me know how you've got on. More than happy to answer any questions or provide any help that you need. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to use sensory acuity. And by this, I mean you need to think about what feedback are you getting. You've set a goal, you're on track, and you feel like quitting, you feel like throwing in the towel because stuff's not working, it's not happening. You've been on 3 dates, is he gonna ring, isn't he gonna ring? You've been putting offers out there in your business, no one's biting, or they were biting and now they're not. You're going to the gym 3 times a week, but you suddenly sprained your ankle and you can't go anymore. Does the whole fitness regime go out the window? You need to pay attention to the feedback that you're getting, okay? People aren't responding to you if you're not seeing a drop in those scales. If you're not achieving what you want, then pay attention and ask yourself the question, is what I am doing working? There are so many strategies to achieve the same goal. There are so many ways to get from A to B. And if your path that you've chosen is not working for you, the key is to be open enough and wise enough and use all your senses in such a way that you can say, well, what am I seeing that's happening here? What am I hearing? What am I feeling internally or externally? So how am I feeling emotionally and how am I feeling physically as well? What can I smell and taste? What is actually happening from a complete sensory perspective? What information am I getting back from myself and from others about what I'm doing and whether or not it's working. And write that feedback down. I mean, sometimes feedback can be as much as, if you've got your own business, is writing out and saying, you know, what do you want? You know, as clients, what are you interested in? What can I be doing to serve your needs? How can I best serve you? I recently put a poll in the Life Design Mastermind about the next challenge, because I know that people have different priorities, and what I want to make sure is that that I'm delivering a challenge that really resonates with people. And also it helps me to create the timetable for challenges for next year as well. So please, feel free to go out there and get some feedback. If you're on a health kick and you're going to the gym, go and ask a gym instructor. I don't seem to be getting the muscle tone that I'd like. What can I be doing differently? Can you tell me anything that I'm doing that may not be working as effectively as it could be? The next trick is to be adaptable. So once you've got that feedback, please don't dig your heels in and say, I'm not going to change. Use the feedback that you've gained to make changes where necessary and take action. And I know this can be really, really painful. If you've set on a course of doing something and you just absolutely love it and your ideas are brilliant, but you're not getting traction, things aren't working, it is time to make a change. Sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees, and being adaptable is really important. What you want to be is wedded to the purpose. You really want to be taking action that delivers on a purpose. You don't necessarily want to be wedded to the concrete steps that you have plotted out that you think will get you there. Use that sensory acuity and use that feedback to actually inform you about what's working and what isn't. And then whatever's not working, change it, tweak it, and try again. And go through that reflexive loop of, got the feedback now, I've made a change, is this working for me? Okay. The next thing that can happen when we're on track or off track is that we lack confidence. Our confidence can take a knock if things aren't going well. So many people I see who embark on a clean eating plan will go out on a Friday night after work, have a couple of drinks, then they'll go and inhale a curry somewhere, and that'll be it. Oh, well, I've blown the diet now for the weekend, I'll get back on track on Monday. Their confidence has been knocked that they can actually do it. They've been knocked off course by one action, by one set of behaviours. And often we look around and we can give ourselves paralysis by analysis. So if you're in business, you can get this paralysis by actually looking and comparing yourself with other people. And the reality is that you are running your own race, you're running your own game. Yes, we can learn from other people, but you have achieved so much in your life, and a really simple activity to help you to build your confidence about how fabulous you are, about your self-efficacy and your self-mastery. So all the things that you're really skilled at and good at is to create an achievement log. Write down everything that you've achieved in your life, from, playing netball at grade 7 and scoring a goal at age 7 and scoring a goal, right through to now. And you'll actually be really surprised at all the things that you have achieved in your life. And keep that handy. Sometimes we forget everything that we have accomplished. And they don't have to be great big things like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or swimming the English Channel. Building our confidence is about recognizing that we do have an ability and skill and competence to do certain things well, and that we can do it again, that we can learn from having done. If we can do one thing well, we can apply those strategies and techniques and do the next thing well as well. Create that achievement log. That's my next task for you. The next thing that's really important for staying on track is to build your community. So surround yourself with people who support you and cheer you on. Social media is very big these days in terms of community. And it really is a supplement to, not a replacement for, the sense of community that we feel when we are pursuing our goals and dreams. Now, if you're an online entrepreneur, then there are many groups out there that you can join to support you through your, I guess, quite unique journey. Also, obviously, with the Life Design Mastermind group, you can join that and become part of that community too. The other key thing, as I did when I was in Beaver in the UK, was to, you know, build that community of food lovers. You know, go out and find the amazing people who are writing food blogs, and, you know, become a judge on the Pie Awards, and create an event myself. You know, you can do so much to build a community of like-minded people. There's something called meetup.com where you can go on and find groups that have similar interests to you. You can go to networking events. Often we say to ourselves, oh, my family doesn't understand what I'm trying to achieve. And I ask people back, you know, how much time have you taken communicating with them what you're doing, helping them to understand? You know, a lot of people find it hard to understand the entrepreneurial journey, or some people find it difficult to understand, you know, that for those of us who perhaps are carrying a couple of extra pounds or kilos, you know, it's not just as simple in our minds as exercise more, eat less. We know that, right? We know that that's the way to get to a goal weight, is to exercise more and eat less. But, you know, it's often not as simple as that. So explain to your family why you've decided to go the paleo method, or clean eating, or Weight Watchers, or whatever you're doing, if you are, you know, if that is one of your goals. If you want to leave your job and travel for 6 months or 12 months, you know, take the time to build your community and get them engaged in that. At the end of the day, if they're not engaged, if they can't understand, or they're not interested, well, then it's time to find a new community. And I know that this can be frustrating, because having that support network is so important. You know, that you have people, you have a dream team around you who can cheer you on and support you. The next thing is to build your resilience. Now, resilience is a concept that is really about unlocking your self-commitment. It's about creating a support system that's going to carry you through in times of wavering faith. So when you do have a wobble, you know, when an obstacle does appear, when you eat that curry and inhale those 4 pints, when the guy that you're keen on doesn't call you, when a client cancels and then another cancels and another cancels, or clients aren't coming in, you know, resilience is so important. Because when you have resilience, you transform into a sought-after person who speaks their mind, dedicates time for themselves, and inspires yourself with a vision about your brilliant future. Now, resilience is really important because, you know, throwing in the towel may be the right option for you. Now, that's another option, right? If you want to throw in the towel and you exhaust all the possibilities, nothing's working, you think you've tried everything, then please, by all means, throwing in the towel, giving up, quitting may be the right option, and it may actually open the gateway to bigger and better things. You may discover, by letting go of something, as often is the case in life, then something else better will appear. And if you believe in the law of attraction, often that is the case, often that is true. But are we a society that tends to give up a lot? You know, are we a society that tends to, you know, give up just before the going gets good? And I've seen that so many times. And often what happens with the people I coach and the people who come on my programs is, you know, they get to a point where they're determined that nothing's working. And the strategy that they've always used is, well, it's not going to happen for me. It happens for other people. It doesn't happen to me. They'll start to go into what I call reasoning and bargaining mode with themselves, that, you know, well, it wasn't meant to be anyway. You know, other people, it happens for others, doesn't happen for me. I could have done this. I should have done that. I would have done that. And then they almost talk themselves out of success. They talk themselves out of going for gold, because it all just seems like it's too much effort. It's too much, you know, too much hassle. And that it's easier just to sit back, go back to the way things were, and pretend like their purpose, their passion, their vision doesn't matter. And if you actually have that purpose, before you give in, before you give up, before you throw in the towel, make sure that you've clarified your purpose, that your confidence is bulletproof. You know that you can do it. You've done so many things and achieved so much in your life. You can do it. You love yourself enough to give yourself the chance. That you have built your community, that you're engaging with people who are on a similar journey. You've joined a Facebook group, you've joined Weight Watchers about weight loss, or whatever it might be. You're out there, you're doing things, you're going to the local small business forums, and you've developed your adaptability. Make sure that you are flexible. There's what was the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get a different result. We need to have flexibility and be adaptable and make the changes when we see that something's not working in our lives, whichever area of our lives that may be. And yes, that can be hard and that can be challenging, but that adaptability and flexibility is so important, because it's a secret to not just surviving, but actually thriving, to moving with changes, to anticipating changes, and to actually moving on to bigger and better things. Now, the good news is that if you do want to clarify your purpose, bulletproof your confidence, build your community, and develop your adaptability, then I can show you how. I've actually built, from my experience working with workshops, so I designed a workshop that I facilitated for over 660 people in the UK. It was a change-based workshop on resilience that went over 2 days and got a 5-star rating from all participants, and from working with one-on-one coaching clients and retreat participants. I've developed a unique, tried and tested methodology for building your resilience and for building what I call the 4 pillars of resilience. Those are purpose, confidence, community, and adaptability. And I've taken everything that I've learned and everything from my 2-day live workshop, and I've put it into an amazing new program called Build Your Backbone Sister. Now, this program is an online program. It goes for 6 weeks, and you can work at your own pace, plus there's group coaching calls as well involved, and a sense of community as well. Build Your Backbone Sister is something I'm really passionate about, because I find so often in life, in business, people give up before the going gets good. And I absolutely love working with people to help them see how fabulous they are, how worthy they are, how amazing they are, and how that with just a little bit of support and with the right systems in place, using the right techniques, you can actually develop your resilience to such a point that you're unstoppable. And that is an absolute passion of mine, to see changes in people as they go through this program, to see them go from, being uncertain about what they want, being uncertain about how to get there, of people pleasing, of feeling like throwing in the towel, of all those things, and moving right through to actually getting what they want in life and having the resilience to tackle any obstacles that arise along the way. The program will enable you to get leaps and bounds closer to the goals staring at you from your vision board. A lot of us create our vision boards, and then, I don't know, somehow subconsciously it's like, oh, that's all very nice, it looks good. And we don't take it that extra step. I created a web post and another webinar called How to Create a Vision Board that will propel your dreams to reality. And it's so important that there's so many ingredients involved in actually getting to where we want to be, and I really want to share those with you. The program is also enable you to nurture and grow your self-esteem to daringly new heights, so you can have unwavering faith that you deserve an amazing life. It's nice to put other people first, but you have a right to live a fantastic life, and to actually get out there and embrace it and feel worthy and feel amazing. We'll also be clearly defining your ambitions so that they propel you skywards. Get some real scope and structure about what you want in life. You'll develop the skills to pivot around any obstacles that may pop up on your journey. So no matter what it is, an inner obstacle, that nasty little critical inner critic that talks to us sometimes, some limiting beliefs that you may have, we're going to get rid of those internal obstacles. And we're also going to work on strategies to get rid of external obstacles that may arise as well. Got a lot of experience working on strategy and planning in business and in life. You know, when something unforeseen happens, I'm really adept at helping people and teaching people the techniques to get around those, okay? To anticipate them in some instances, and then just to be able to navigate around them, over them, under them, whichever way. Also, leave behind the criticism of others for good, because when compared to how much you love yourself, it no longer matters. You are going to develop such self-love during this program. You'll be almost embarrassed and blush when you look at yourself in the mirror. You know, I think a lot of us will take very little time in our day or in our life to acknowledge how much we love ourselves, how much we care and respect for ourselves. And you know, developing self-love is just absolutely critical. And it's a journey. You know, it's not, self-love is something that you need to practice every single day, and along with self-care, you know, just to really honor and love the person that you are. Build Your Backbone Sister is also about helping you to express yourself in a way that others want to support you instead of stand in your way. You know, communicating your vision, communicating what you want in life and business is so important in order to get that support of the loved ones and the ones that are close to you. So many times I hear of people who, you know, whose friendships fall by the wayside because people don't understand what they do. They don't understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur, or they don't understand that, you know, you've reached a certain age and you do want to change your career completely, or you do want to leave your old partner and find someone brilliant, or travel the world, or whatever it is. So I'm really going to help you to do this in this program, to really be able to communicate what it is that you want, and to really do so in a way that helps people to embrace that with you and support you and cheer you on, rather than criticize you or poo-poo your ideas. So there's lots involved in the program, and it is really about creating change in a very real and meaningful way. As I said, it's 6 weeks. You'll have access to a virtual classroom. You'll be able to work at your own pace through the materials. Every week I'll be having a group coaching call, and the times and dates of those are actually up on the Build Your Backbone Sister page, which I'll share with you shortly. So there'll be 6 group coaching calls. That's 1 a week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a topic, and I'll be answering lots of questions live from you as well. Depending on how many join the program, I'd like to host more than 1 group coaching call so that everyone can make it. They will be recorded, of course, as well. I'll also be sharing with you some videos and webinars like this one, where we'll do a bit of a teach session where I'll facilitate a learning experience live for you too. And we've got the online private Build Your Backbone Sister Facebook community. In addition, really comprehensive workbook for you to complete too, because I think it's important that, you know, it is about writing things down. We can often, as I said earlier, you'll see an exercise, you'll intellectualize it, you'll say to yourself, oh yeah, that sounds good, I'll do that in a minute. Or that sounds great, I think that's what it means for me. But what I'd really like you to do is commit to take a deep dive into each of the modules and complete all the exercises to the best of your ability, so that you really are getting the most out of the experience and getting the most out of the change. So I'm actually offering, opening up the program. It starts on the 11th of January, so there's plenty of time to get organised for you guys to start the program. I know we're entering the holiday and festive season, but I'd like to invite you to sign up between now and the 16th of November, or the midnight on the 15th of November, for the early bird price of 497 Australian dollars, and the exchange rate is very unfavourable towards the Aussie dollar at the moment, whether you're in pounds or US dollars or Canadian dollars or New Zealand dollars. So it's a great time to take advantage in those currency fluctuations. If you do sign up as an early bird before then, you'll have a 1 hour coaching session with me, one-to-one, where we will lift the lid on some of your limiting beliefs. We'll talk about some of the things that are holding you back, and I'll provide you with really tangible strategies for moving forward. You'll also then get a Clarity Kickstart package, which is 6 life design ebooks. So they are on lifestyle, money, love, health and well-being, career and self-development. So you'll work through those, and they will really help you to get lots and lots of clarity about what you want in life. So as I said, the program does start on the 11th of January, and I'm just going to go in and jump in and get the link for you now, so that you can take advantage of the offer. I'm getting used to this technology. So there we go. So it's 497 Australian dollars early bird special for the program. So one of the things that I find as well about resilience and building resilience is that doing it in an environment where you have the one-to-one support of me, plus also that great community of people who are experiencing similar things to you, is just so valuable. And that's why the Facebook community is really important. People, you know, when as adults, when we're learning new skills and techniques, it's not just about having someone facilitating up the front and telling you everything you need to know. It's actually about bringing your own life experience to the table and sharing and communicating about those experiences so that we all learn. And one of the things that I'm really proud of in terms of retreats and programs, workshops that I've run, and online programs as well, is that that sense of community is really strong. And it's a beautiful space, really, where people can actually come and, you know, they can have a little rant, or they can say, you know, this hasn't been working. What suggestions do you have, or what results have you got from doing this exercise? And people are really genuinely open to sharing their experiences. You know, one of the amazing things I found running retreats is that very often the groups that will come will all have something in common. And something really powerful in common. For example, one retreat I ran, every single participant was a nurse or had been a nurse. In another retreat that I ran, every single person was wanting to change their jobs. And it's amazing how when you get people together who are like-minded in that kind of community, or, you know, in this kind of program, there's such a sharing and exchange of ideas and support that it's just really heartwarming, and it's just lovely to see and to engage. And I think that's, you can't put a value on that. You know, you can't put a value on what that delivers for you in terms of change. The thing about Build Your Backbone Sister as well is that it is a program that will really open you up to new ways of thinking and new ways of believing in yourself, in new ways of viewing change, and also give you insights as to different ways to view things when obstacles do occur. Because let's face it, life isn't one long continuum without any ups and downs. It's more like a little roller coaster that we get on and we strap ourselves in and we say, hey, baby, I'm here for the ride. And the more equipped you can be to navigate those ups and downs, the better life experience you will have. You know, you can enjoy the feeling of that, you know, when your stomach drops and you feel like screaming, and that pull when you're rising up the other side. And I really want to enable you to and equip you to be able to ride the roller coaster of life in a really meaningful and positive way that helps you to be the best that you can be, to realize your potential, you know, to help you to keep going in the face of adversity or when you think things aren't working. Really important to me that you know, that I'm able to help people to do that, because I have seen both in my corporate experience and in my work as a life coach and a business coach. So many talented people, so many amazingly kind, generous, supportive, wonderful people give up just before the going gets good. And the last thing I want is for that to happen to you, okay? I know how tempting it can be sometimes just to give up, to throw in the towel. Oh, it was never going to happen anyway, to make excuses for ourselves, to put ourselves down, to lose our inner strength and our inner belief. And I know that can happen. It's happened to me in my own life, you know, and it is really about pulling yourself up and employing those strategies that will work for you. So that is my offer to you, to join on the early bird special. For 497 Australian dollars. That price does go up to $997 from the 16th of November. And people who join after that time will not get the coaching session with me or the Clarity Kickstart package of the 6 Life Design ebooks. So if you have any questions and you would like to get in touch with me, please email me. I'm lara@designyourfabulousfuture.com. I am going to just send you a little redirect now to the page, and I hope that I will see you over in the Life Design Mastermind group on Facebook. It's a lovely, free and welcoming community over there with lots of great resources, and I really hope that I'll see you as well in Build Your Backbone Sister. Bye.